So looking at the qualifications we have, I think financially, no, we're not being compensated enough. But in terms of the respect, I'm going to take a different direction of it. I think we do get respect, most especially from the communities.
Of Thumbi Ndung'u. So this HIV cure, just to give you guys a background about it, the trial got 20% patients off HIV medication for 18 months while using immunotherapy.
But we see it as a breakthrough, even though 20% is a small number. I think people don't understand, even though 20% is a small number compared to like the rest of the overall participation, but it worked.
Talked about Professor Thumbi previously, and now we're talking about Emmanuel Kiyonga. Another important fact to realize is that these are people who came into South Africa, recognized that it's possible in South Africa, but where are the people that are born on this ground? Where are they in terms of science discoveries? Because I'm seeing. Welcome to another electrifying episode of SA Science Spotlight Podcast. We're at the Physics Department at the University of Pretoria, our home for brighter ideas and bigger questions. And I am Rondo, and yes, I am back, and it feels so good to be behind the mic with my co-host. Today, we have a new host as well. So today I have Penny, I have Clinton, and I also have Tepo in the background. Penny, I want you to go first because this is your first time now as host.
Yes, the last time I came here, I think I was a guest, and it was such an amazing episode. We got to know each other, and I think with that intention, it was just to like get the feel of everybody and also showcase what I do behind, everything else that we're doing in front of the screen. So I'm excited to be here. Officially my first episode, and it is such a milestone. We should do like an anniversary. We must mark the date for today and then do like a 1 month, 2 month to like a whole year anniversary. Yes, I'm excited.
Clinton, how are you?
Welcome back, everybody. My name is Clinton Ndung'u. I'm your co-host at SA Science Spotlight Podcast. Before we go any further, I just want to say thank you for all the people who've been subscribing to our channel, for all the comments you've been dropping. Thank you so much. Really excited to be back. We are on episode number 10. Can't wait to give you more information, more education, inspiring thoughts, inspiration from researchers, whatever that is going on in the world. Let's go.
Tepo, you're in the background. Yes, another background episode for you.
Yes. Thank you, Londo. Welcome everyone to this episode. I'm excited, and I would like to officially introduce Penny as our new member of the podcast. Let's get it. Let's talk science and enjoy.
Okay, so guys, today we're going to be unpacking the science in South Africa. We're going to range from the breakthroughs, what we are currently facing as battles, and the brightest future that lies ahead. So let's start here. Let's be real for a second. We know that we have brilliant candidates in South Africa, brilliant people who have graduated with masters and PhD degrees. Yet the question remains, are they respected? Are they compensated enough? And are they supported enough for them to thrive? So that is what we're going to be dwelling in today. But that is not only it. We are also going to talk about the breakthrough that we've noticed in the field of science. For example, we've recently noticed a lot of breakthroughs. You've had it in social media. Professor Thumbi's HIV trial, which has shaken the country. We're excited about it, and we're going to dive more into it today. We're also going to touch a bit on Emmanuel Kiyonga's osteoporosis and breast cancer drug. One student, one drug, two diseases. That is what we're going to talk about. And finally, in our section, we're also going to talk about the square kilometer array, because we are home to the square kilometer array in the Karoo. So apparently, it is not only going and searching the skies for black holes, but apparently there's also alien lives as well. So we're going to dive into that as well. And to finish up, today, because you guys know that I'm the champion of the science, is it fake or not? Today I'm going to be the one who is going to be questioning this too, to see who can possibly challenge me next time when we play this game. So I'm going to ask them questions, and I'm going to ask them, is this true or fake? So please Stay tuned for that, because remember that this is not only a conversation that is happening in labs. This is a conversation about science, about how science can possibly change the future, and also how science can possibly give us economic growth. So please stay tuned. We are just beginning. This is SA Science Spotlight Podcast. So, to begin the day, guys, I want us to dwell into it. Let's firstly talk about the graduates that we have in our country. We do know that we have a lot of masters and PhD graduates. Some of them are sadly sitting at home. So my question to you guys is, are they being fairly compensated, and are they being recognized in South Africa?
It's such a very big question, honestly. And I think for people who are in this space, it's things that we often ask ourselves on a daily basis. It's hard to measure the scale. What are we comparing it against with? Because that's also where we need to start the question from. That if you're saying I'm not getting paid enough compared to what market or what standard. So for me personally, being in South Africa and being in the space of what I'm doing, I don't think it's enough. I don't think we get paid enough. I don't think we have enough respect. The only respect I think we probably get is for people who are not in the field of what we're doing. Because sometimes like you're out there, like at home and say, oh, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm doing PhD. Wow. It sounds amazing and it is big in its own right. But then when you become in your own space, if for instance, I'm in the space of pharmaceutics, when I'm then now exposed to everything happening within my own space, I don't think we have that proper respect, and we're not even properly compensated. But I think it's a question that we should start answering it based on the market value. That's where we should start looking at the market value, how other people outside are getting paid to what we are getting paid.
And also when we talk about market value, as Penny mentioned, we have to compare it now. Do you, Clinton, think that the salaries that people are getting, are they sufficient? Compare it with the 7 years people go to school to get those PhD and master's degree. Is it sufficient for what they're getting in the industry?
Honestly, it's funny. Just last week I was speaking to a friend. I'm like, hey, making 25 grand in South Africa, it's actually no longer sufficient enough to survive. It's honestly like bare minimum. So looking at the qualifications we have, I think financially, no, we're not being compensated enough. But in terms of the respect, I'm going to take a different direction of it. I think we do get respect, mostly from the communities. When you go back historically, we were never had that accessibility to education. But now we are able to access education. We're getting these PhDs, we're getting the masters. So I think in the communities, we do get respected from our loved ones, our families. When you get that postgraduate qualification, you graduate, you can see even the vibe during the graduate.
Exactly. He is educated.
And also previously, like you're saying, everybody knew when you're building a career, it's either nursing or you're going into the field of being a doctor or engineering, so we didn't really have much of scientists. We always thought about scientists as people who go to space, all those big people, and we didn't think we'd have people within our community who are now starting to be scientists. And that's where I think right now a lot of our community members and the community as a whole do respect us. But within our own fields, I'm not so. It's questionable.
But financially, I don't think we haven't even tapped the space where our graduates, like your masters, your PhD, they're really getting that recognition to say, we see your skills, this is how much we can give on the table. I think it's always where, that's why in fact, to be honest, I think a lot of PhDs and masters, we do that just because I want to do something. Because I know I have an honors, I have a master's, but out there's no market for me. There's no a job for me. I mean, underemployment in South Africa is like 60% at the moment, which is a good indication to show that we're not being recognized enough.
And that is actually a very interesting fact, because no matter what field you specialize in, whether it be biotechnology, research, physics, we are still facing the same problems. But it also comes, there are countries like Germany, Canada, the US, where what you are basically studying is way more valued up there. So why is it that we are losing so much talent to overseas countries, which they actually do value their scientists more than what this country does to their scientists?
I mean, it's exactly that. Not being properly compensated, not having the proper respect within, your space of research or the field that you are investing or you are researching on. It's exactly that. Like we're not getting recognized, we're not getting properly compensated, and also it comes where government also plays a part into it, where there's lack of investment when it comes to science and technology. So when you go into countries like Germany, you are going into a country where it's properly invested. Like these people are manufacturing everything, and they're leading manufacturers in a lot of things, especially chemicals and polymers. They are great in those kind of spaces, and also vehicles. They do a lot of that. So there is investment. There is respect within that proper space. So if now I want to be recognized, I want to build my profile as a researcher, as a scientist, those kind of places are the right kind of places that a person needs to find themselves in to grow, to learn, to also develop your research profile. Because here, it's when you're doing something, it's such an extraordinary thing. It should be a normal thing that, you know what I mean? Because it's only once in a while where something big pops up, and then you have the whole entire country talking,
and
social media and fighting for it also. So there's so much space to share ideas, to grow, to learn, to also find yourself within a space where you know that your contribution is valued, and it's not just from an idea base, it's executed. You have the proper technology, you have the proper machinery, they have everything you can ever think of. So as a scientist, I think that's why we're probably moving into those kind of countries where there is proper investment in the things that we want to do.
And then now, an interesting fact is that according to the National Development Plan, South Africa aims to produce 100 doctorates per million people per year. But without enough funding, without enough research funding, opportunities, I do not think those graduates are staying. What do you guys think?
Definitely, I don't think that's going to be a possible thing to be done in the next 5 years, for example. But I think it goes to what Penny was saying. Infrastructure is very important. In South Africa, we may need to change our education system. Because if you look at countries like China, when a student or a learner is still in like the primary stage, I'm going to use South Africa as an example. When you're already in the primary stage, you are already learning how to build stuff, how to operate a certain machine. So in South Africa, we're more focused on the theory side, which is still good, we need that. But I feel like fields such as science, we need to be practical more. We need to invest more in the resources, have research institutes. We only have not a lot of them. There's Itemba Labs, there's the CSIR, but we need to build more of those infrastructures where our postgraduate students, they can be registered with an institution like maybe University of KwaZulu-Natal, but they are based in a research institute where we are doing things practically. Because writing papers is a good thing, honestly, but where do we apply the knowledge that we are publishing? I think that's a bigger question that we need to move, or we need to look at. And also, speaking of like the media side, media doesn't normally recognize a lot of science, but if we look at the celebrities in general, Instagram, TikTok,
your
it's mostly
actors, your singers,
So we need to re-look at a lot of things. The media space as well. What are they doing to recognize science? All the things that are going on in the science space.
Yeah, but I think you made such an important contribution when you're saying that in the industry we don't have that space to sort of break into, because majority of us, when you're doing your master's or in your PhD, it's mostly the work or the contribution that you do is on a university level, right? Because that's where a lot of, the PhDs and masters are, rightfully so. But like breaking from that space into then application, it's a whole different spectrum. Because also I know some of the challenges that they face is that when you get there, they tell you, it's more theory-based. Okay, what are you bringing that is, a skill-based that we can use, or something practical that you can give us, which is something else completely different. And now you have your profile being limited to either you being a consultant, because you don't either have like the necessary skills to move into, and not that you don't necessarily have them, but we're not harnessing them. You can be able to grow whatever particular skill using your PhD or whatever research project, whatever project that you're just investing in, and that can be applicable into the workspace. Just finding that space to transition from university level or university institutions into industry base or into the private space of doing the things that we are doing at a university level. So I think that's the challenge. Yeah.
And it also begs the questions, if these graduates are not getting any chances, is education really worth it? If you're going to spend 7+ years and your efforts do not have any results, is it really worth it? But on this final note on this subject, I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think the government should be doing at this time, and what should they be changing? Because there are all these plans, but why are we not seeing the fruits of these plans?
I think first, investment. They really need to invest in the science space. Not necessarily science only, but obviously here we're talking mostly about science. They really need to invest in the science space. Let's use load shedding as an example. If you really sit down and think about it, there are so many solutions we could bring on board to assist in terms of the energy storage. We, as researchers in the physics space, we know this. Your lithium-ion batteries, we can go hydrothermal, we can go hydrogen energy. There's a lot. There's nuclear energy. Why are we not bringing those into the table? Why are we not actually investing in those particular industries? Russia is going with nuclear. Why are we scared of doing such things? So I think the government, what should be doing is to actually invest, go back to your graduates that you have, which is your PhDs. We already know these people are skilled, they have the qualification. Make the investment, take the risk to actually give them all the resources they need to do or to develop whatever we need to do. So I think that's what government should be doing firstly, is to talk about investment in the science space in terms of infrastructure, your resources. Yeah.
Excellent, Clinton. Money does actually talk. You see? So
it does. So that's why we need to be compensated. That's why we need to be compensated.
Yes. So for now, let us shine a light on the breakthroughs that are currently happening in South Africa. This is just proof that indeed Africa has brilliance. So there's a lot that is happening in the country, and our job is to bring those things to light, because we want you to recognize that the future is science, and science is the future. For example, let us talk about the HIV cure by Prof Thumbi Ndung'u. So this HIV cure, just to give you guys a background about it, the trial got 20% patients off HIV medication for 18 months while using immunotherapy. So, and then that is what is currently happening. They stopped using their ARVs for 18 months using immunotherapy.
No, I think it's in combination with...
It's not off.
I think it's in combination with immunotherapy.
It's in combination with immunotherapy.
Yeah, so the ARVs in combination with immunotherapy. So you still have them taking the drugs, but the effectiveness of the drug is being boosted by the addition of that immunotherapy.
So while we're diving, because I'm really interested now, because fact checker, please check your facts, because I want to know now, is it a vaccine? Is it a cure? Because a lot of people are excited out there.
So they're saying what, only 20% of the, let's say, patients, they used whatever drug it was, they were not on ARVs. Is that what's on the internet? I'm trying to read here.
That's what I got.
Okay. Then let's double check it.
Let's double check it, because I want to know that if it really is what we think it is, it's something that we have been waiting for years. And if it's being discovered on African soil, that is a big discovery for us as Africa.
No, it is a big discovery, because there's still a long way to go, first of all, but why I say it's a big discovery is that during the clinical trials they were conducting, if I'm not mistaken, I think it can also be verified, it was probably a phase 1 clinical trial, because in phase 1 you don't have a lot of patient recruitment. So with the whole entire study they did, or the trial they did, was out of the total number of the patients they got, I think it's 20 patients overall, only 6 of them, which is that 20% they're talking about, was able to be not to detect the HIV virus within their system for a space of about a year and a half. Then 1.5 years is like a year and a half, which they're still continuing to monitor it. But the rest of the patient, it failed. You know, it is a breakthrough, even though it didn't work on the rest of the patient, but it shines a light on what it is that we can do to be able to then, let's isolate that 20%. That 6 people that we're working, what is it that worked right for them? So then we can start and harnessing and improving our product to make sure that it works on a larger scale. So I think on a brief view, obviously it is deep, and probably one day we can have the guy come through, the man himself come through and tell us more. But from what I've gathered, prematurely from what I've gathered is that the 20% is like 6% out of 20 people that participated in the trial. The rest of the people didn't work, but then the 6 people would work. So now it's to focus on what is it about that 6 people and what we are doing that is working, and then improve from the thing that they're doing, and then take it from there.
Wait, so it was 20 people?
Yes.
And then only 6 it worked?
Yes.
Okay, so that means the other 14,
It failed.
that's where the 20% come from?
Yes, that's where the 20% come from. It failed. But we see it as a breakthrough, even though 20% is a small number. I think people don't understand, even though 20% is a small number compared to like the rest of the overall participation, but it worked.
Exactly.
You found 1 people working, then now we are able to say,
we are on the
why
road
didn't
to
you know what I mean?
something.
We are on the road to something. So I think it's such a beautiful thing. And for me, when I was sitting down and just reading, you know, when he was blowing up on social media, reading up on everything about him, I thought to myself, this couldn't have came at a better time, because the United States cut funding for us, especially to do research, and a lot of our clinical trials were funded by, you know, international investments. So now when you do that and we're left stranded, now we have to figure out a way. The trials have already started, the projects are moving, research is happening, and then you cut off funding. It brings us to a state where we are conflicted, confused as to what needs to happen now, because in order for those trials and for those research and everything else to move, we need continuous funding. But when you then now find such breakthroughs, people within our own soil doing it, and with very limited resources, with no dependence of outside investment, it gives us a good hope that we can be able to be independent, establish ourselves within our own country with the research that we do. There's so much that we are doing, honestly, and I think the investment, that's where the government can come in to invest a lot more and probably give us space to produce the things that we are doing on our PhDs and our masters, like to put them in real value, to give a face to the projects, the papers, you know, the a lot of administrative work that we do should be then now implemented. So I think, it becomes a start. It's a good start, honestly.
I totally agree on that. Like, honestly, most especially the publishing of papers kind of like always stresses me out. Like, yes, I see we're always publishing, government gives us money, but where is the money actually going? Because the money goes back to the institution, but what is the institution doing with the money? So I think we really need to rethink as a country on what is our main priority in terms of research? What are we trying to achieve with this 1, 2, 3? What are we doing with the people with the skills that they have? So government should really start investing in the research space, because that's what's going to grow us, that's what's going to make us put forward. We have a lot of skills in the country, honestly.
It's true. And to actually think about it, the government is actually spending a lot on healthcare. They're spending a lot on medication. And for this trial, to think that it was based in KwaZulu-Natal, it is going to help a lot of people there, because there is a burden of HIV in KwaZulu-Natal. So we need to really invest.
Why
You want to start a debate now?
Our camera crews are actually from KZN. Maybe they can tell us.
What's happening in KZN, guys?
What's the tempo you wanna come through?
You're hitting your nerve, guys.
Yeah, what's the
You can tell us. What's the short of condoms?
No ways.
Someone was saying ukuthi ninenkani nanoma ikhona niye niyisebenzise. But yeah.
Good conversations.
But yeah, I'm actually glad that you said that, because I feel like for me, when I'm really analyzing, and this is just my own personal opinion, I think that like when we were growing up, we knew everybody becoming doctors and nurses, and even government went into that direction, like investing a lot of money in healthcare, in healthcare science, in healthcare overall, and public health, and treating our patients, and this and this. I feel like right now, for me, we're moving away from health and moving into a space of science. And I think science is going to help solve a lot of things for us. Because now, for instance, if government is spending a lot of money, take HIV as an example, to buy treatment, have beds to treat, it's a lot of procurement involved in treating, for example, HIV patients, and a lot of money therefore. So if you can invest or move into a space of science where we're coming up with solutions, it will reduce the burden on government that it's spending on health drastically. So I think we're moving in a space of science now, which is exciting, and I think if government can really notice the role that science is playing into creating and solving problems that we're currently facing in the country, we can then now have conversations at the later stage of how are we redirecting where we're spending our money. If we're reducing expenditure in health, where are we putting the money? Let's invest it more in science, so we can come up with more products that are South African based. We're using on South African soil to solve South African issues, which overall impacts, it has a national impact on everybody. So I think we're moving away from everybody now rushing to go into a space of we want to be doctors, and then when you're a doctor, we are treating people. We're not solving the problem, we're just putting a patch to the wound, which I give so much respect for the people who do what they do. This is not to disregard that, but I'm just saying let's look at an overall picture now that we're coming out. Prevention and curing, and then so we can avoid having hospitals being overflooded. We can avoid now government struggling to reallocate its budget or more to health overall and having lesser budget on somewhere else. So I think it will help a lot overall. For me, that's what I think.
Yes, and also again, there are global events like G20, which put South Africa on a global scale. So this is a question to Tsepo. Do you think that with this scientific discovery, is it going to shape our global position in terms of what we're doing in the scientific field?
Definitely, I think so. This discovery, is a big breakthrough for South Africa. Looking at the fact that all other countries, they tried to come up with this cure, they only just came up with how to treat it only. So definitely, this will be something that the people will look at us and be like, the South African scientists are really doing something. I believe that we're going to make the headlines in the G20 that is coming.
I also think so, because remember now G20 is made up of the European Union and the African. So when you have those two spaces where the Africans are meeting with the Europeans, and when we're meeting up, we're not just meeting up, we're coming up as Africans, what we're bringing to the table with the kind of things. I think as we're forming that collaboration, because essentially it's international collaboration and cooperation. So as we're moving into that space, we are bringing something to the table, so we can establish a funding within those two regions, so we can start now funding the things that we need to do. So I think it's such a great initiative to have the G20 and us doing what we're doing and the breakthroughs that we're having, so we can put to the table and say, guys, we're not just asking for money. The money that we're asking for, the money that we want, this is what we're investing in, and we've already started. Let's keep it going.
And imagine what we could do if resources were open for us, if we are able to do the little that we're doing right now with a little investment and with certain political investments pulling out, I think we're going to go far. One student, one drug, 2 diseases tackled. That is the story of Emmanuel Kiyonga's drug, which is believed to help tackle osteoporosis and breast cancer. Guys, what do you think about it? We actually had Emmanuel Kiyonga here. What do you, Clinton, I'm going to go with you first. What do you think?
I think the money they gave him is small.
I agree.
I definitely
I agree.
think okay, no, it's actually a good thing that I think when he came to our podcast, he was preparing to go for that competition, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's actually a good thing that we had him before that, and then also it came out a good thing for him. He won it, and now it's being recognized. I just feel like my question would be, what is the government doing about this? Which brings us back to the question that we talked about just a few minutes ago. What is the government doing about this? Here it is, somebody found something. We know it's going to work. It's going to help us with the osteoporosis. It's going to help us with breast cancer, which is one of the global issue. Breast cancer is a global issue. So I think it's a bigger question of what is the government doing at the moment with this?
But it was a government-based initiative, though.
Really?
The thing he won.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. It was a student government-based initiative,
I
but
think it's something with DH, Department of Higher Education.
EDH, is
But
it
where are we
ED?
now? My question is, where are we now? with
Yes,
this?
what have they done
Yeah.
so far?
Yeah.
But I also did see on his Instagram, he posted about being invited. He was in the spaces of Motibe, like
Yeah.
the big.
I
Yes.
think for as long as we're not going to focus on him as an individual here. Yes, he's the founder, he's the one who came up with the whole thing. But I think we need to look at this in a different way. What are we doing as a country?
Yeah.
Are we, because obviously bringing a cure to something, you're also going to kill other businesses. So I think there needs to be a collaboration such as your Pfizer. You know, there are a lot of associations around developing your drugs and stuff like that. I think they need to work together in terms of like, how do we make this such our own South African brand that can grow and can be a global brand?
Yes, and supply to other countries as well. Because an important fact to know is to actually know that in South Africa, there's over 6 million people with osteoporosis. So if it's a problem here, imagine how it is globally.
Exactly.
So there could be a lot of things that are done there.
I don't know, but like I'm actually quite interested in this. Is based on what you just said. Do you think, guys, some of these cures we've had them for a long time, but because of the thing of not running people out of business, especially in the pharmaceutic space, because once you introduce a cure, then it's like, okay, everybody's healed now.
Exactly.
So what happens?
What do they need?
What are we doing? You know, there's also that controversy, and there are also those talks, and I know that there's what do you call those things? Not superstitions. What do you call those things? But some propaganda thing that, you know, some people are doing. Yeah, where they say conspiracies, conspiracy
Especially
theories.
HIV as well.
Yes, that we've been having the cure, but you know, people in the pharmaceutical space are gatekeeping it because you want to have a continuous supply to be in business and all of those things. So I don't know. What do you think about that? Because also I know that it's threatening when you have people like Emmanuel Kiyonga and say, I found the cure. What are the other companies saying? Like, you know?
I think that's why I'm saying, I think collaboration, that's where it comes in.
Yeah.
These companies need to be smart as well. Okay, somebody found a cure. That means now, with what we're having to prevent, it's probably not going to be helpful anymore. How do we work with this person to actually make this such a bigger thing? They can still have some contribution somewhere, somehow. Collaboration would never, it doesn't mean they will be out of business, no. It's them actually collaborating together and say, okay, we see what you have, we have the resources, can we work together? Let's work together in developing more resources and how can we help them. So I think that's what in the entrepreneurial space, yes, business is competition, but at some point you need to start looking at how do you work with your competitor to actually make a bigger impact.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like some of these diseases, when you're finding a cure, it's not like you're eradicating the disease overall. Like, you still have people developing osteoporosis, but they will just get cured. So I think it could be a continuous, sustainable thing.
But have you guys heard of those interesting stories about plane crash when people are going to the
That's
summit
what
to
they're
discuss
saying.
such things. Like, you guys are not even scared.
Yo, I'm telling you, social media was booming, especially when Kiyonga came up with that thing that I think I
saw
forgot.
on
Mzansi
Twitter.
was it? Asi,
Yeah,
what was
Mzansi
it?
something.
Mzansi something.
Oh, I saw on Twitter
When
the
Kiyonga found the
comments.
cure, and then everybody's now like, is he not
Protect him.
scared?
Yeah. I saw the comments.
Protect him. Is
The
he not
comments,
scared?
like, protect the guy.
Protect the guy, exactly.
And then people start coming up with
But-
stories that somebody got killed because they found a cure for something. So it's a bit scary. So maybe.
But again, I think, I'm sorry to cut you off. I want to ask you, because you're in the pharmaceutical side, is it really for curing, or is it something that's gonna help? I'm trying to understand it
Yes,
better.
is it going to treat or is it going to cure?
Is it purely curing, or is it something that's gonna...
You know, I think it's best the man himself comes and clarifies. Or please comment and clarify this for us, Emmanuel Kiyonga. We're inviting him.
We should invite him back.
Yes.
Yeah, please, wherever you are, please, it's a challenge. You must comment on this. But I had a question like this similar during the week, and we were talking about it. It's a proposed. It's not yet fully confirmed that you can cure. Those kind of confirmations and conclusions, you only make them after you've done
A trial.
clinical trials.
Yes.
And clinical trials take longer, and there's a lot of things that are involved. Right now, he's made the drug, and based on preliminary examinations or investigations he's done, it shows that it can be able to cure the trial. So for now, it's hard to say it's a treatment or what, but from what has been done and him putting the patent, obviously you patent it after having some sort of information to say, based on what we've done, we see that this has the potential, the capability to cure that. But to have a definite conclusion, you have to first conduct preclinical trials, which most of the times are animal studies. From animal studies, we move into the clinical trial. And it could be a challenge getting there also because, first of all, it's heavily regulated. When you do something and you finish it, you need to take it to some certain regulating bodies to approve it, and then to say, now you can move into the space of, clinical trials. And then from the clinical trials also, it's also heavily regulated. And the thing about clinical trials, it takes long. Like, it could take years. But for now, like the issue of the HIV was saying, a majority of it failed, but 6% of it is working. The same thing with Kiyonga. It is working somehow, but we need to have further investigations to put a definite stamp to it to say it definitely does cure.
But wait, guys, can we please give a big shout out to Kiyonga? I mean, I think we need to give him his flowers because this is someone who comes from where we come from.
SMU.
We know the guy. This is good for the university. We come from there. Let's give him some of his flowers, guys. Big shout out, Kiyonga. Yes, Lundo.
But on another interesting note, we talked about Professor Thumbi previously, and now we're talking about Emmanuel Kiyonga. Another important fact to realize is that these are people who came into South Africa, recognized that it's possible in South Africa, but where are the people that are born on this ground? Where are they in terms of science discoveries? Because I'm seeing Kiyonga is shining. Professor Thumbi is shining as well.
And I love the fact that they are proud about where they come from.
Yes, they are.
So Emmanuel, I think, is from Uganda, and the professor is from, it's Kenyan based.
Yes.
But outside, I think, of us questioning where are South Africans, I think this puts a good spotlight on collaboration.
Yes.
So you see now, like, it's people that are not born from here, but by mere fact of being here and the collaboration that other countries have with our country, we're able to make this kind of discoveries and breakthroughs. So no country essentially can exist as a soul, as an island, as one person. So the same thing, and these are some of the things that need to be put forth in the G20 thing, that, collaborating, bringing people from different spaces where we are achieving the same goal. They're Kenyan and Ugandan, but they're not doing those things where they are from. They're doing it here. But it's a great collaboration. And in fact, when this happens and when we have a win here, their country of origins will definitely benefit from from what they've done in our soil, which is amazing. So I think it shines a good spotlight on the issue of collaboration.
And it is also a good call to the government, because I remember when Kiyonga was here, we talked about how it's very hard to get funding to be able to study in South Africa. So here is it, they're proving themselves, they must really pull up their socks. The government should at least create a pocket where we do fund bright students who are excelling in South Africa.
Yes. And economically, we're literally circulating the ideas within our country. So if we make money out of it, we're generating something that is going to benefit the country. Economically wise, it's not that thing, because I know sometimes there's that threat that they're going to take the money and then go and take it from where they're coming from. But it's circulating within, within our lands, within our ground soil. So I think it's something that they should definitely pay attention to as government as a whole and other stakeholders that are involved in this.
But the bigger question I think is, where are South Africans? Where are we? What are we doing? Why are we not getting...
Where are we?
Yeah, where are we? Like, why are we not making discoveries? What's going on?
I think maybe they are, but it's just not as blowing up in social media.
You think...
So I think this is an invitation now. If
that's why we have spotlights.
Yes, please. If there's somebody who's done something, so we can shine a spotlight on those kind of things, then please, whatever discovery you have done, so we can showcase that South Africans do have potential and capability to do what other people can also do.
True. Wow, such a beautiful discovery.
It is. Yeah, I'm so proud. I'm so proud of everybody. So
All right, guys, it's now time for a mix of genius and politics. Okay. So, first things first, do you guys believe in aliens?
I used to watch a lot of those movies. I think I don't believe they exist, those things.
So, what is an alien actually?
No, I think it's just an imaginary, some form of like, we think there could be other human beings type of vibes that are existing somewhere. I don't think they exist. It's just an imaginary thing that we think of.
Penny, what do you think?
I think there are. Honestly, like, this is just me. Because I just feel like the word alien is the same thing as the word as a foreigner. Like, for instance, when I go to probably Egypt, I'm a foreigner because I'm not from South Africa. So even them, they're not from Earth. So we call them aliens as another formal word for being a foreigner. I think they do exist. I think because we have never obviously traveled outside of being or explored outside of our own Earth, and everything that we know, all the information is confined within Earth. We don't know if there are other living species out there. So it could be a potential that they're there. So I believe that they're there.
Yes, so this is actually what the SKA is all about, the Square Kilometer Array Project. So for those of you who do not know, the Square Kilometer Array Project is the largest radio telescope in the world. So it's actually a project that started in 2008, and their aim is to have the largest radio telescope based in South Africa, but the largest in the world. So apparently, they're not only searching for the stars and searching for everything in the sky, but they're actually also searching for the possibility of alien life somewhere else. So when I heard about this, it actually just started, erupting a lot of questions. For example, Clinton, do you think it's really worth it to spend so many billions on a project like this?
Just to find aliens? Obviously other things, but like,
I think
aliens?
If we think about it to just find aliens, it sounds like, no, it's not worth it. But I think it is worth it because South Africa is now a global player in the space of astrophysics. So it is worth building it because, astrophysics is one of the fields, even me as a physics person, I don't really think much about it. So now when they're building this, I think we become a global player, being the largest one in the whole world. So we become a global player in the astrophysics space. And also, if you think about it, it's a collaboration of many fields such as IT, engineering, data science. So it's creating jobs. So I think it is worth building it because the people who are living around the area, we have cleaners that are there. We have a lot of fields that are playing a role. So I think it is worth it. But in terms of like the research part of it, it might not be worth it much compared to other stuff like your healthcare systems, but yeah, it's worth it. I think my opinion is it is worth it because we become a global player in the astrophysics space. Yeah.
And actually, now that you're saying it, I'm developing a bit of a desire. Let's have a road trip as SA Science Spotlight podcast to go see this biggest radio telescope. We want to see it ourselves. And also, obviously, we want to bring it to your screen. So make sure you do subscribe to our YouTube channel. And then, Penny, do you think that young people are actually benefiting from this?
I mean, like what Clinton said, as long as it's going to give us jobs, I think it's a win. You know, we need to, we're always talking about government should do something to create jobs, and you know, we have initiatives like this, and it's giving people jobs, and you know, it's doing a good thing overall within academic professions and industry professions. So everybody's involved, you know, so it's assisting. And I think earlier on we were having a conversation and Tepo was saying that also the tourism, it brings people from
attracts people in.
Yeah, so it plays a role because tourism does contribute to the national GDP.
Growth,
yes.
Growth, domestic product.
That's right. So when you have such kind of initiatives and it's calling other people from international places to come and see it, I think it helps us overall.
Yes.
But, you know, besides that, you know, if you think about maybe how the world is connecting with every industry, if we remove, for example, we can just use marketing. Some other people believe that marketing is not a career or it's not something that should be focused on. But what is a company without marketing? It's not there.
It's nothing.
So think about it also. If we think that it's not building SKA, what if in the few years to come, there's something that's just gonna come out of nowhere and we didn't recognize it in time? So I think having this being built, it keeps us being aware of what's happening, what is the world. As the world is growing, the earth is developing certain things with your green energy. There's a lot going on. You don't know what's going on in the sky. So I think it is worth it. It keeps us updated of this latest data of what are with the satellites, always checking what's going on. So it is worth it.
But do you think guys have spotted an alien already? Because I think that would be cool.
No, I didn't. I think it would be, with our social media, it would be trending each and everywhere. So now, for those who are young scientists and for people who are invested in careers that might be SK related, it is important to know SKA, the project itself started in 2008. That was phase 1. And then phase 2, is it phase 1? Something, please check, I think. But phase 2, I think it started in 2018.
Let me just quickly
check for me. But it's still an ongoing phase. So that is a very good place for us to look for employment opportunities. For people who are still in high school, it's a good industry to try investing in. It is science related, so I do believe there's a lot in store for us in the future in that department.
I agree, but it's been a long time because the last time I heard about SKA, I was in high school.
Me too.
No, and then surfacing all of a sudden talking about, you know, the work that they're doing. They've been going at it, and I think it's something that can be quite sustainable in the long run. So yeah, it's an amazing initiative.
Yeah, it says that phase 1 started began in 2010. Was completed. It started being operational and completed in 2012.
Okay.
And they fully completed 64 dishes in 2018. And with phase 2 started around 2022. It is the goal for the full SKI to be operational. It's by 2030. So the full operational for it to be fully complete would be 2030.
So it has how many phases? 2, 3?
It has 2. It's indicating 2 here.
Oh,
2 phases.
Yeah.
The second phase.
Yeah, it says SKA phase 2 will solidify South Africa's role as a leader in global radio astronomy. Yeah, it's gonna be completed around 2030.
But we've been busy though, because I'm thinking 2010 we hosted the World Cup, and while we're hosting the World Cup, we have to invest money in infrastructure, stadiums and everything. There we are, putting in a lot of money on, the
SKA. It's something that you can even probably forget if you don't think about it a lot.
I know. We've come far as a country, though. We have to also highlight that.
And South Africa is really in the past it has worked with global agencies like NASA.
Yeah.
But we do know, especially in this time and age, that things can shift very drastically.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think, especially with our presence at the G20, what do you think? Do you think global science alliances can open doors or close doors for South Africa?
Definitely open doors. I think it will definitely open doors. It's a collaborative work that we need to do with other countries. So it will definitely open doors. I think that's what I would say.
Yeah, I also agree, hey. But it also could be nice to hear what other people are thinking out there, and in terms of the space we're moving into science, and now that we are going to go into the G20, what could it possibly do for us? And I think it would be nice if everybody just jumped in there and just commented, so we can read and repost, and probably we can have interactions, because sometimes information is obviously limited, that other people have other better information about what is currently happening, and we can just include that in these conversations.
Please do comment down there.
And another important thing to notice is that it's one thing for us to say that we love science, but where is the proof? Where is the budget? Where is the money? We have to prioritize, the government, South Africa as a whole, to really put our investments in young people's hands. We want to see more global shifts. We want to see more game changes like Professor Thumbi. We want to see more people discovering more things in this country. So this is a call to the South African government as well. I think we're always calling them out. Always. But we believe that this is a seed that we are sowing for the future, because there is someone out there who is in a lab, and the only thing that's stopping them from that future discovery is a lack of resources. So I do believe there's a lot that can be done in terms of changing legislatives, changing policies, making rules favor us, favor young people into discovering more and more things in our country. So before, just our hot take, what smart policies do you think that the government needs to invest in? You can just drop one.
Smart policy?
Yeah, a smart policy that could work for us.
To think from the top of my head, I think now I'm leaning more into the AI part. I think if we could have some regulations around the AI in terms of, in every field, like your health sector, engineering, if we can have a smart policy in how can we actually use AI in our favor. Because at the moment it's like we're trying to shift away from machine learning, artificial intelligence. It's like people are a little bit more scared. So I think government, if we can work around that, develop some policies around AI side.
What about research? Penny?
Yeah, what about research?
Because I know there's a lot of things and policies around research when you're doing a research.
In the research space, I think every institution, they have their own policies. Like you need to have some form of, like, before, let's say for example, you wanna submit a proposal, it needs to be first accepted by the body. Those are some of the policies that sometimes delays us, So if we could develop policies that are, or systems in place that can be able to like regulate different types of researchers. In most cases, you find that in a certain body, I'm a physicist, we have a biology who's gonna say, no, this doesn't work. But they don't really understand what my research is about. So if we can develop policies, even the people who are sitting in those chairs, we need to put people in place who understand that particular research system. You see what they're doing in government. I'm gonna use that because you find that a minister this season or this particular, whatever they call it, is in sports. Next season is in whatever.
Yeah. And next season,
AK-47.
So we need to have policies that can help us in that particular way, where research can be regulated easily. The systems can help us to. I think we can move much better.
Yes.
Yeah, I think also probably, the government is doing a good job, but it needs to invest a bit more when it comes to science, because we have a lot, especially because right now I'm thinking about the National Research Fund. there's so many divisions within the National Research Fund, and the National Research Fund is a government thing. So don't think because you're getting NRF wherever you are and think it's a private thing. Yes, there are private investors, but it's an initiative from government that was solely made for the investment of research and innovation. So that can serve sustainable development goals within that align with the country and the country's policies. So I think the distribution of funds and where they're putting them, and also the criteria that is involved with getting some of these funds should also change, because I know, for instance, if you are probably trying to get funding for certain things, there's like certain criteria, like maybe you shouldn't be above like age of 35, or you should hold a South African, yes, of course, to regulate some of these things it is necessary, but I just feel like some of the criteria can be uplifted in terms of the age. I don't think age should play a factor into that. If I already have a discovery or an initiative I want to do, or an innovation, no matter how old I am, let's just like put it to the side and just focus on the work itself instead of all of those things. So there are certain things that I think within the criteria that they're developing that you need to follow in order to get those funds. I think that there should be change. But overall, I do admit that there are some good work that the government is doing. It just needs to be more, because we shouldn't talk about the National Research Fund only. And also, I know there's a lot of initiatives outside of NRF, there's SAMREG, there's a lot, and most of them are funded by government, or government to a certain degree has a hand in it. So, I think distribution of funds should be an important thing.
Okay, now it's time for just a short little game that I have for you two. So I'm only going to ask 3 questions. Answer them as fast as you can. Okay. The winner takes away everything. So South African true, the game is called Science or Fakens. So if it's true, you say science. If it's fake, you say fake, okay? South African researchers once trained pigeons to detect breast cancer.
False, fake.
Okay, she gets the point. You're saying thinking. Okay, the second question. The first human-to-human heart transplant happened in Cape Town.
True. No, science. False. It wasn't in Cape Town, but it was in South Africa.
Wait, do we say science or false? Or true? Okay, true.
Science or fake?
It is actually science. He got it.
Okay.
So, the third one, there is a plant native to South Africa called cancer bush that's used in traditional medicine.
Science.
Science, okay. In how many scores? 1?
2-1.
She got 2.
Okay. The final one, Decider. A South African scientist once developed a phone app that detects malaria through a selfie.
Nah, false.
Fake.
Okay, that's actually true. She won though. Okay, guys. That's it for today's episode. Do not forget to subscribe to SA Science Spotlight Podcast. We are available on every social media platform. From myself to you. See you on yet another episode. We will engage and have another interesting conversation.
Bye.
Out. Thank you.
Did we make it on time? Yeah.